Welcome students. Today we'll continue water chapter. So the topic is solubility. So what do you mean by solubility? The quantity of solute that dissolves in a given quantity of a solvent at a specific temperature is called the solubility of the solute. For example, say common salt, the solubility is 36 gram per 100 gram of water at 20 degrees centigrade. Similarly, in figure 5.1, other substances like copper sulfate 32 gram per 100 gram, ammonium chloride 37 gram per 100 gram. Okay. So now next is the effect of temperature on solubility of solutes. The solubility of a given solute is in a solvent depends on temperature. Like see some more solutes like common salt, potassium nitrate, copper sulfate and ammonium chloride in water increases with temperature, whereas calcium sulfate, calcium hydroxide in water decreases as temperature increases. So totally opposite. So this you have to remember. So importance of water. Water is very important in day-to-day life. So in life processes, see, water always play a very important role in most of the life processes by acting as a solvent, because water is a universal solvent. Okay, the absorption of food in our body takes place in solution form with water as a solvent. Also many waste products are excreted in the form of solutions through urine and perspiration. Then water helps in regulating our body temperature. Okay, it makes our body temperature constant. In hot weather we drink a lot of water. This maintains our body temperature. Also water evaporates from the surface of our body as a sweat. This takes away heat and cools our body. Okay, then water is very essential for plants to grow. Plants needs water to prepare food. They also absorb dissolved nutrients from the soil through their roots. Then aquatic plants and animals use the nutrients and oxygen dissolved in water for their survival. So these are the examples where water is used in life processes. Okay. Now see in everyday life. In everyday life how we use water? Like water is needed for drinking, washing, cooking, bathing, cleansing, etc. It is used to generate electricity in hydroelectric power stations. Okay. So in figure 5.5c, this is the hydroelectric power stations. Okay. Then water is used for irrigating fields and in manufacture of various products. Irrigating fields, this. Okay. In the diagram it is given. Next is water pollution. So how water pollution takes place? Now we will study. So any undesirable change in the physical, chemical and biological conditions of water that make it harmful for plants, animals, human beings or to the environment is called water pollution. Anything it is harming to the plants, animals, human beings or environment, it is water pollution. Okay. The substances that pollute water are called water pollutants. So what are the water pollutants? See, causes of water pollution. See, first one is domestic sewage. This is a pollutant. Then industrial wastage. This is a pollutant. Insecticide and pesticides, oil spills, acid rain, dumping of garbage into water bodies. Then thermal pollution. These are the pollutants. So how does it occur? Now let us see. Domestic sewage. When untreated domestic sewage containing feces, urine and laundry waste is discharged into water bodies, the water gets polluted. Untreated sewage contains harmful microorganisms that causes disease such as diarrhea, dysentery, cholera, jaundice and typhoid. If it is untreated, not properly maintained, so such type of diseases can cause. Okay, so this is a pollutant. Then industrial wastage. Industrial discharges large amounts of chemicals directly into rivers and lakes. So what will happen? Whatever the chemicals is coming out from the industry, they are very toxic and they harm the aquatic animals and human beings. So like this also it acts as a pollutant. Then insecticides and pesticides. These are given to protect our crops because they used to kill the insects and pests. So excessive use of insecticides and pesticides contaminates water bodies when these chemicals are washed by rainwater and carried into the water bodies. So what will happen when it goes to the water bodies? Again it hampers the aquatic plants and animals. So like this water pollution takes place. Now see oil spills. The drilling of oil wells and shipping operations cause oil spills which result in water pollution. Okay. Then is the acid rain. So in the atmosphere, whenever the gases like sulfur dioxide and oxides of nitrogen are present, so what will happen? When it rains, these water gets polluted with these gases and falls as acid rain. Okay. Then acid rain pollutes water bodies and harms the aquatic animals. Then dumping of garbage into water bodies. So the dumping of garbage such as paper waste, food waste, polythene bags, metallic cans, etc. into water bodies cause water pollution. Then thermal pollution. Thermal, see, the discharge of hot water from the industries and thermal plants into water bodies changes the temperature of the water. As a result, the content of oxygen decreases because these, when they are discharged to the these hot water are discharges to these water bodies, so what will happen? So they act as a pollutant, and they, what happen, they decreases the content of oxygen. If the oxygen content is reduced, then they kill the aquatic animals because they will not get sufficient oxygen. So this reduces the rate of decomposition of organic matter and therefore starts accumulating in the water. Okay, see, and starts accumulating in water. So thermal pollution also acts as a water pollutant. Now see, control of water pollution. How we will control water pollution? First one, see, effluent treatment. The chemical waste is released from the industries can be treated in effluent treatment plants to remove harmful chemicals present in them. Okay, then so in the plant again there will be purification is done, then only these chemicals can be removed. Okay, then see, sewage treatment. Sewage should be treated in sewage treatment plants before release into rivers. Okay, before sending into water bodies, so this should be treated. The chemicals, the toxic ones, they should be taken out from the by the help of the plants. Okay, treatment plants. Then recycling of industrial waste. Wherever possible, waste products from factories should be recycled before they are released. Then organic farming. Excessive use of insecticides and pesticides should be reduced. If organic farming is done, means no insecticides and pesticides, natural fertilizers will be given. So what will happen? So there will be no pollutant. So organic farming should be encouraged. Then biodegradable detergents. The use of synthetic detergents should be reduced. Instead, biodegradable detergents should be used because they do not cause water pollution. Synthetic detergents, like whatever now chemical we are advanced form we are using a detergent, no, these are all synthetic ones. Okay, so what happened? This causes water pollution. Then sources of underground water such as wells should be covered properly to keep them clean. Okay, then see, conservation of water. How to conserve water? Conservation of water refers to preventing the wastage of water without affecting day-to-day life. We need to conserve water by the following reasons. How? See, first one, see, industrialization and agriculture demand a huge quantity of water. Okay, so they require huge quantity of water. The overuse of groundwater had led to scarcity of water. Too much of using groundwater means what? Groundwater there will be scarcity of water under the groundwater. Okay, so then crop output is severely affected by scarcity of water. This leads to drought and famine. If there will be no water, so what will happen? Output will be less. Then what will happen? It will create to drought and famine. Then how can water be conserved? Now see, forest areas should be increased as they help in causing rainfall. If more plantation will be there, so more rainfall will be there. The industrial and domestic waste should be recycled and reused to be maximum extent possible. So recycling means what? Again using it, so it can help in conserving water. Then drip irrigation system should be encouraged to save water. Drip irrigation means that pipelines will be there and under that plants will be there, so they drop by drop water they will get water. So this also can be encouraged. Then rainwater harvesting should be done at domestic and community levels. It is a process which involves collection, storage and the subsequent use of the stored water. Rainwater is collection from the roofs of the buildings with the help of pipes and stored in tanks for future use. Okay, here in the diagram you can see page number 63. Okay, so this is a rooftop rainwater harvesting. See here how the rainwater, when the rain falls, it gathered here, after that through the pipe this recharge pit and storage tank is there. So for further storage tanks, this one, okay, and this one the recharge pit. So rainwater will come down and they will store here. Okay, so like this also for future use. If you will store in a tank, then you can use in future. So this is a rooftop rainwater harvesting. So like this also one can conserve water. Then the last point is, see, at the individual level you can also help avoid wasting water. Do not leave the tap running while brushing your teeth or washing hands. Do not allow water to drip from defective taps. Get them fixed immediately. Okay, so you know, no tap are sometimes half open, or they are not working properly, drop by drop continuously it is falling. So like this loss of water takes place. So we need to conserve water if the taps are been fixed properly. Okay, and while brushing the teeth also, no need to open the tap and brush. How much required, we should take water and we can use it. So like this water can be conserved. So this chapter completed. Next class we will start a new chapter. So go through the chapter and read properly. Thank you.